Has this been the longest, most boring, most frustrating narrowboat restoration project on YouTube? Please let us know in the comments, guys. Anyway, 3 years in, a lot of you guys have been saying you are so far off from finishing this project before you go cruising forever. You may be wrong, guys, because we've got some juicy tricks up our sleeves in this episode, which could potentially mean that we could actually be gone within the next month or so. Yeah, right. But stick with me. There are two fundamental things on this narrowboat that we need to get finished before we can go cruising. Number one, hot waters for showers, and number two, bringing energy in to charge up the batteries that we still need to purchase. And then we're good to go. We are Chris and Bex. We are the Nomadic Crobot. So in today's episode, Becca will be working on the hot water tank of the narrowboat, the calorifier that will heat from the engine when we're moving. Free energy, guys. Love that. And yours truly will be letting you into a very, very top secret hack on how I'm potentially going to be bringing in energy on our tiny floaty home.
Hello! I am back in the back room, and now that I have finished with my hatch, I'm going to crack on with tackling the calorifier. First things first, just get this thing secured down to the ground and in position so it's not going to wobble about. Let's get all this bubbly wobbly off. So she is unbubbled, and I have wiggled her about to get her into the right position. And now I'm just going to mark out, where is my finger? What's it doing over here? I'm going to mark out these brackets and then just drill down and then put some hefty old screws in place. Give it the old wobble test. Yeah, she's not going anywhere. Woo!
So can you guess what my special secret energy hack is, guys? So exciting day. We're off to see a man about a Jenny. You guys used a Jenny on a narrowboat? It can be a bit controversial because they're noisy little things, aren't they? Or big things. So anything to speed up the process of this adventure, isn't it? Because we're not moving. And I'm thinking, do we actually need solar power if we're moving around, or can we just do it sort of based off a little generator? So yeah, let's have a look. Let's see how this goes. So today we're going to visit one of my oldest friends. Let me take you into the twisted mind of Mr. Nick. What we got? Disgusting. You know how I feel about them. So Nick kindly said that we could potentially borrow his generator just to give us a kick up the arse to get cruising. So let's put that to the test in a little bit.
Okay, so the next part of the plan is to get the expansion tank secured up to the wall, and then I can start fiddling around with my pipes. Da, 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 da. I can do this one-handed. I can do it. Can I do it? So the plan is to fit this bad boy round about here, where it'll sit just above the calorifier and attach down onto this little valve here, which is basically the mixer valve for your hot and cold. And I'll do that with these. This is a little bracket that has two sort of adjustable, almost jubilee clips to keep it nice and sturdy on the wall. So let's tear into that and get cracking. So actually I was lying, there's only one of these, so yeah, let's figure that out, because I thought one went through there and one went through there, but there's obviously a way to do it. Before I get to all of that though, I'm actually just going to position this correctly on the wall. Risky. So I have decided I'm going to move it back a little bit further to here. It'll just keep it a bit more tucked out of the way. The plan for this upper part is to have it as a cupboard, so it'll just keep it a bit out of the way and hopefully out of mischief or anything kind of going wrong. I've marked out for my bracket here, so I'm just going to drill that into there and then secure this little baby up. Woo! So sure why, but you put a drill in my hand and I like going to Arnold Schwarzenegger mode as though I'm like Commando or something, and this is my deadly weapon. Like, what's that all about? Do other people do that? Do you do that? Does anyone do that? Hey ho. Right, so let's screw it in then. Do the is it secured on enough test. That's not going anywhere. So now I've got to deal with this. The world's worst slinky. So I thinky for my slinky that it goes a little something like this. You pop it through. So I'm just having like an exceptionally stupid moment. I'm like, how on earth do you wrap that round and still clip it in? But I think I've just figured it out. Or there are some brains lurking in my head somewhere. I think you put that through there first, you wrap it round again, and then you put it through for a second time. That's the only way I can figure how it works with the bracket. So in true Crobot style, it just wouldn't be the same unless there was a problem. And there we go. There we have it. I have found my problem. Because the Jubilee clip thing that they have sent for attaching it to the wall, like I showed you, it's meant to double over and secure it onto the bracket. It's not bloody long enough. God damn it! Yeah, as you can see, there's a deficit of that much. And I know what you're thinking, we'll just wrap it round once. But when you do that, it's all like wibbling around on the bracket, which doesn't fill me with a great amount of confidence. See, that's all on nice and tight, but it's just like wobbling around. I'm not happy with that. I have managed to find this huge old cable tie because I've been out to all the shops, B&Q and what have you, and I can't find one that's big enough. So for the moment, I'm just going to wrap it round once, use this as a secondary securing point, and then I'll try and source one at a later date. Yeah, that's more stable. That's what we like. Because that expansion tank could be filled potentially with up to 5 litres of water, you want to make sure that that thing is not going anywhere. You know, it's going to get heavier, so it's worth doing it properly.
One of the big worries of these things, is it going to be loud?
It's not massively loud, is it?
Bex has been a little bit sceptical of generators in the past. She says they break a lot and they're noisy.
That's not loud at all. Would that annoy, like, other boaty neighbours?
Ideally, we would probably want this to charge up some batteries on the narrowboat, but for the time being, let's put a few items to the test.
We could plug a kettle into it. That's the most brutal thing you could do. Yeah, I don't know, I've never done this. Ready? Go. I thought that might be a bit much for it.
Okay, so the kettle don't work.
So now that's up there, I can actually put my Mario hat on and get plumbing these pipes in. This is like the exciting bit. So just to give you a bit of a walkthrough what each of these pipe outlets do, so you kind of follow me as I'm going along. Down here is our cold water inlet. Your cold comes in here, but then we've got this little jobby here. Now that's just a drain off for if you ever want to drain the tank for any reason, so that's really handy. So I'll pipe off from here, from our main water tank at the front of the boat, and it'll come into here. But before it does that, it will tee off. I'm going to send the pipework down the back wall there, where it will come up and into this little bad boy, which is the cold inlet for the mixer tap here, as you can see, so you can set your temperature. So that's my first port of call, and then we'll come back to the hot stuff later. So let's get down with the fittings. Elbow joints, straight connectors, T-connectors, pipe inserts, and we've got some of these little jobbies as well, which is just for securing the pipes up against the wall. Little clips, basically. So it keeps everything neat and tidy, just like we like it in Crobot Towers, as you can see, you know. Lastly, as you can see, we've got this giant hula hoop, which is in fact just the pipe itself.
I'm determined to get this generator stuff going, guys.
We'll go from 3 kilowatt to 1 and see if that kills it. Bang! Let's ramp her up.
Okay.
Oh, it's on economy. That's probably right.
He's never actually used this. He literally got it a few weeks back. So this is the first time we're trying it out.
A little present. blowing.
Ideally, you would harvest the energy from the engine and charge up the batteries, but you know, everything's taking so long. I'm just trying to find a way of speeding up the process today.
It's like brutalising. Yeah, yes. Oh, God. Give that a go. Come on! Oh, we're going now. Is it? So now just to break the news to Bex, because she had inverters in the past when she lived on narrowboats. Inverters? Generators. And she said they're a pretty big nightmare. So we'll see how that goes. Nick suggested the other day that why don't we borrow the generator for a few weeks, take it on a cruise and see how we get on with it. And that's probably the best way to try these things out, isn't it? So all I've got to do is arrange a trip, hide it from Bex and then whip it out on board. No, I'm sure she'll be up for the experiment. But you don't know until you've tried, do you? So maybe I need to try and maybe it'll be more trouble than it's worth. We might not actually need solar, so...
I thought I was kneeling on something uncomfortable. Just pulled this out my leg. Just a nice rusty nail, just digging into your skin. So first things first, I'm going to secure a straight connector onto the cold inlet for the calorifier, and that way I can run the pipe just a bit closer to the wall. Now the great thing about these fittings, I don't know if you can just see inside there, there's like a black rubber O-ring. Literally push fit, you just shove them on and that just secures them from any kind of leaking or anything like that. It creates a nice tight seal against the pipe. There we go. That bad boy is not going anywhere. Now the great thing about these are they're actually demountable. So if you just, I don't know, have a crazy moment, pick up the wrong fitting, shove it on, all is not lost, because you can get these ace little keys to just take them off again. Simple. You literally shove them on over your pipe. It's got some little teeths inside there, and as you push it onto your fitting, it kind of releases the catch on them inside. Push it in and off it comes. As you can see, as you push down, the little inner white ringy valvey bit pushes down and it obscures those teeth and it just releases the fitting from the pipe. I promise I'm not like sponsored by HEP2O or anything like that. I'm just like showing off stuff that I think's really useful to know to someone who perhaps hasn't done stuff like this before. Like me, basically. Other makes available. Now that's on, the next bit I want to add is this T-junction here. So this will connect to that. That arm will go off and run up down the back of the calorifier like I mentioned and connect up to the mixer tap, and this one here will be where the mains water comes in. It's time to unwrap the hula hoop. Caution, sharp cutter blade under the label. This is where I just slice my finger off or something. Yeah, there it is. They think of everything. Principle, I think, is to sort of just do this. So what I need to do is just cut a piece of pipe that will run from this fitting here up to this fitting here. So I'm just going to mark it out, give it a snip. Oh my god, that is really hard. Now, contrary to belief, these are in fact not top hats for wee little snails. They are pipe inserts. As you can see, they've got a little sticky outy bit here, so once you shove them into your pipe, they can't be pulled back out with much ease at all. So what these do is they create a nice flush fitting with the end of your pipe. You just pop them in. It creates a nice flush end like that, and it reduces the likelihood of any leakages. So I'm just going to pop this into my T connector, twist it around until you sort of feel the click, give it a pull back. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. And now I can just measure up and cut out a more precise length of my pipe like that. I overcut it because I was nervous. It was my first bit, you see. So you're wanting to go up to this kind of collar on the joint here. So just a point to mention, we obviously need to cut the pipe here where it's flush with this collar on the fitting, but also make sure to just allow a little bit extra for where your pipe insert is going to go, because that will extend the length of the pipe ever so slightly. So just bear that in mind. Got a bit of jumper fluff forever cemented into this bit of pipe. Hopefully that won't cause any issues. So there we are, that one's all done. I'll just whack it into here like this. Perfect, first bit done. Woo!
What's that?
These are here. Can we have a look at that? I was thinking of getting one for the boat. Because we have got to sort heating. We've got to sort heating out on the boat, and this would be a sort of cheap way of doing it and just get going, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's all wired up jank, I think.
When you hear that it's diesel, you always think it's going to be sort of loud because it's got an engine in there, hasn't it? Does it have an engine?
It's
Oh, it doesn't have an engine in it.
It's got a little fan, but that just runs off the 12, and then it's just a nozzle, a glow plug where you'd have in your engine, and then when it's burning, it's just work.
The thing with them is, when I looked at them on YouTube, people said you need the door open a bit wherever you use them to let the fumes sort of out.
It's bollocks. Well, I don't know.
You've got your exhaust not going out the door; it's going straight into your workshop.
That's not exhaust.
Oh, that's the exhaust.
Yeah, straight through the plastic, you know, nice and safe.
Yeah, get it going. Let's see how noisy it is.
Got the T-birds here, but no sopranella. Wonder what's going on. Bye, boys. Right, so now that bit is finished, I'm going to work on connecting the cold water pipe from this end back to the back wall, running it down, and then I can connect this up to that. This one goes into here. The nose is getting longer. That is a full-on Cyril Sneer jobby. Did anyone watch the raccoons?
This new cologne of mine is the greatest invention since the cat start.
Loved that programme. And the outro was like a well-good theme tune. We are free. So I'm just like cracking on with the next bit, guys, because it's really, really difficult to film it at the same time. So once I finish this section, I'll catch you up on where I've got to.
Stuff's cold in there, it's got a little fire going in there and some fins.
And you can get them for about 100 quid on eBay, can't you? We'll take it. Can we take that too? So this is it going full blast now.
It's not full blast, change the pump speed here, so it's at 1.4.
What's the loudest it could potentially be?
It's not. It's a bit Chinese.
Yeah.
Is that the highest?
What do you guys make of all these generators? Let us know in the comments down below. I'm just trying to think of ways to speed up the process, but yeah, it could be a big ball ache, couldn't it?
Right, so here's a progress report. Cold water line up to the mixer tap is now in. So I'm just going to put a couple of pipe clips just to secure the pipe against the wall so it's not like flapping around and all that jazz. There we go. One there, and you can just about make that one down there. So that's just keeping things a bit sort of more secure. Okay, so it's starting to come together. Doesn't look like a lot, but it is getting there. So there's one last thing I want to do before I call it a night, and that is attach an isolation valve to the cold water feed. Here it is. I'm just gonna attach it to there, and then off of this will feed off my cold water line. I figure this is a good idea because it means if I ever want to shut the water off to the calorifier, if anything goes wrong with it, it can be done so whilst you can still have your mains water on to the rest of the boat. And then, as I say, you can switch it on and off and isolate the calorifier if you ever need to for whatever reason. It's all in, and it can be moved on or off accordingly if you ever need to isolate it. So here's my little pipe track I've created so far. So all that's left now is the hot stuff.
It feels so good.